What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 31 of the 214 Sports Show. My name is Joseph Duffy, and I'm joined alongside, as always, my partners in crime, TJ Krylowitz and Courtney Machani. How we doing today, fellas?
Doing fantastic, man. Love to talk some Dallas sports this week.
Yeah, it's been a good week for Dallas sports. Literally exhausted, but you know what?
Yeah,
we go run it back though. We go do it for y'all.
First day back with classes. It's already going rough.
This return from spring break is going pretty well so far. Kind of killing me right now.
I had to be tired. I mean, it went well, but it got me gas, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Getting burnt out, but it's been a good spring break. Got a lot of things stacked up in the outline for today's episode. Of course, the Mavs, who are on a nice little hot streak right now, doing what we were actually looking forward to them doing in those next three games since the last broadcast that we had for the podcast. And then, of course, the Cowboys having some very heartbreaking moves with some guys moving on, some guys being signed. We'll see what our thoughts about that later. And the Dallas Stars, Mike Modano's statue finally getting unveiled. And then a big-time win against the LA Kings. And then the Rangers looking ahead to opening day, which is next week for the World Series champions. Can they defend their crown? But before we get into that, we're going to start with something interesting. March Madness is just around the corner. The Mavs just hit a buzzer beater, which is very rare for this franchise. We know it doesn't happen a lot of times historically. I don't know if you saw on the Mavs Muse channel or the Mavs Muse profile on Twitter, but they posted every single Dallas Mavericks buzzer beater in the history of the franchise, and there wasn't that many.
Yeah, they posted that with Maxi's game winner last year against LA.
Yeah, same day, I believe.
Actually, a year ago, yeah.
And we'll get to that a little bit later. But it's reminiscent of March Madness big-time moments. And we'll see. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a 1 seed. I really don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm on the Shannon Sharp route.
The Shannon Sharp.
Just all
one seed and just see which one. Hey, there's no way that one of them don't make it.
Hey man, it's hard to go against the 1 seeds this year, man. They're pretty solid. They're pretty solid. I'll say Iowa State. If it's not anyone in the 1 seed, I'll go Iowa State, man. I kind of like them.
It's always not episodes. I'm so tired, man. Sorry. It's always two teams that are like they come out of nowhere. I always end up picking like 3 out of 4 of the 1 seeds to make the Final Four, and it's always like 2 of those 3 I picked that don't even like sniff the Final Four. So I expect maybe like UConn to make the Final Four, but I don't know about some other teams like Tennessee or something. They usually don't do well in the late stages.
Tennessee's getting booted in the second round by Texas, so I don't know.
I don't know about Purdue either.
That's if they beat St. Peter's.
I mean, that fraud Purdue, I don't know. Zach Edey. People like to come after Zach Edey. I don't know if anybody should trust him either.
That TCU's got him in the second round and they win?
I wouldn't even be shocked if they got bounced, man. I don't know. Before we get into the Dallas Mavs talk, let's go with everybody's favorite game. A nice game of Purtle. Of course, the famous basketball edition of the NFL game that we know. Well, I guess the game in general that we know from the New York Times as Wordle. I'm going to try to guess our basketball players around the league. Been a rough one for the boys last few ones, but surely this should be the big turnaround for us. I don't know. We'll see.
We always guess Mavericks players to start off. Do we keep that trend going?
Yeah, I say we go Kyrie.
Kyrie? I like
Kyrie. Guard.
Ain't bad. Ain't bad.
32.
West guard, younger than 32. Pretty tall. Either 10 or 9 is the number. I'm thinking Pacific right now. Who's tall? Who's a tall guard? Like Klay Thompson, I think he's older than 32 though, probably at this point. But he's number 11, so
do Ant? Is he taller than 6'2"? Because we just saw him. I just saw him yam down like some crazy dunk.
I mean, what? He's number 1 though, right? It's not gonna be him, or 5, but we'll see. So it is Pacific.
He's taller than 6.
Damn. 6'5".
He's not in the Southwest, not in the Northwest.
6'5". Older.
So Russell Westbrook, he's older now.
Russ still wears 0, right?
Yeah.
How old is McCollum?
CJ McCollum is in the Southwest.
Never mind.
So 31-30. Malcolm Brogdon, he's still in Portland, right?
But that's Northwest.
Yeah, North.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the same conference as OKC.
No, you're right. Yeah, that is Northwest. I messed up. I goofed.
Let me see.
What number D-Lo wear?
Ooh, D-Lo, he's number 0 though, right?
Yeah, 0. I think that's what he is.
I mean, we also have
he's 6'5", though.
What's Bradley Beal's height? He's not 6'5".
Gotcha.
Man, this is tough. Ooh, you know what? Let's go Devin Booker first.
Oh my lord, 6'5". Okay.
So it is Phoenix, though. It is Phoenix. That's what I was looking for.
Phoenix guard.
Boy, Eric Bledsoe, I don't know.
So Grayson Allen, I don't think he's up there on age yet. I'm about to.
Is Bradley Beal 6'5"?
I don't think so. That's what I was thinking about.
I think he is.
It was.
We'll go Bradley Beal. I'm going Bradley Beal.
Oh
shit. Okay.
Dude, 31. He literally is 31, 6'5", a guard on the Suns.
They're basically telling us to play.
Come on, 31.
Yeah, they're trying to tell us
on the Suns.
I mean, I don't want to guess Grayson Allen. Do we guess Grayson Allen? I don't think
he was like 6'7", though. I thought he was 6'.
But there's no way Grayson Allen's older than Bradley.
Is it a Kogi?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Do we want to go with a Kogi?
Go ahead.
Also, Kogi.
Jeez,
my
man.
lord. Maybe it is great. Grayson Allen is not 31 though.
There's no way he's 31. There's no way.
No way. I'm gonna feel super old if he's 31.
Allen, but there's no way.
No, Grayson Allen can't be 31.
Bradley.
Well, let's do it just in case because we've guessed basically every single guard on the team.
Lord.
Who gets on that roster? Yeah, I know he's. That's what I can tell you. It looks like he has some type
shit, why can't I think of this?
Braids in or
why do I feel like a casual? I don't know.
Oh, we're selling badly.
Ooh.
This is bad.
It's gonna be somebody we know too. That's what's crazy. Because he's 31. So he probably got drafted around like 2011 or so, 2012. Not 2012, 2014.
What's the starting lineup? It's Beal, Durant, Booker, Nurkic. Who's the fifth guy?
I feel like they usually go with Kobe. I mean, TJ Warren, he's not on the Suns anymore, I don't think.
He's not really playing he's not,
He's not a guard. We go TJ Warren. Looks
There's
like
no way. I feel like he's older too.
So he's on Minnesota now. Damn.
Ooh.
He's 30? TJ Warren?
Hey, do we just throw in the towel?
It might be, bro. This is bad.
I'm finna go Brandon Knight, bro. I don't know.
Brandon Knight.
Guards, bro. It's Isaiah Thomas just got signed. I know it's not him either.
No, it's not Isaiah Thomas.
So I know who it is. And it's so stupid. It's Damian Lee. But Damian Lee is
who's guessing that?
See, I didn't think he was still on the team. I'm going to be completely honest. I did not think he was still on the team.
He's like 15th freaking man on the rotation, man.
How are we guessing that, bro?
I didn't think he was still in the league. He hasn't played. Okay, wait, hold up.
He's been in these stats this year.
He's averaging. That wasn't even his point total this year. He hasn't played at all this year.
I need to update Pirtle, bro.
Yeah,
Dog, he hasn't played at all this year.
That's so weak.
Oh my! He hasn't played a minute.
That is actually weak.
How do you go from winning the championship 2 years ago and then not playing a single minute at that age?
I think he's hurt, but
Gotta be.
It still doesn't matter. He hasn't played at all this year. That's messed up.
Pirtle, what are we doing?
Yeah,
come on, man. We gotta start making it. I swear, man, they used to give us simple players. It seems like every week now it's just like they're just trying to get us. Like it's not.
Come on, dude.
Um,
Well, we're going to move on to the Dallas Mavericks talk. Recently, the Dallas Mavericks defeated the reigning champion Denver Nuggets. We're recording this on a Monday night, so right after the Mavs defeat the reigning champion Denver Nuggets by a Kyrie, what do you even want to call this? A floater, a hook shot, buzzer beater from a floater for the win on Nikola Jokic from near the free throw line. How did the Mavs get this big time win in the AAC, TJ?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was traveling back to Austin, so I didn't really watch much of it. But I mean, it's a good solid win. That's something that you need to have the momentum to have going into March. Well, we're more than halfway through March, going into April, the playoffs. I mean, it's just a hell of a performance by Luka and Kyrie again, the main scorers for this team. I heard Tim Hardaway Jr. got booed.
Oh yeah, he got booed.
Did he actually get booed?
He was throwing some bricks in the first half. He was getting a little bit he's getting a little bit heckled. So
came up with a solid 1 point of the game in his 15 minutes. I mean, at least they're starting to play him a little bit less for now because I mean, there's just something there's something going on with him right now. He's not there right now mentally for this team. And sometimes you just got to let go of some guys' minutes, even though he's a 16-point per game scorer, I believe still. You just got to do it. And I think the rotations have been a lot better these last few games. They've started to actually use and utilize those bigs. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford have just been amazing. Just, that 1-2 punch that they have. Still really don't understand why Maxi Kleber was in the game for the last 5 or so minutes. We still won. We still won.
Yeah, we still won.
That's all that matters. Even though we almost blew it, I really did think that we blew it. I really did think that we were going to blow it. There's just no way. Once Jamal Murray hit that shot, it was over. Got to give them props.
Yeah, big time performance from this team in the clutch that we've seen actually more than we've actually believed the entire season long. But they've been great in the clutch, but just not as much in the clutch against great teams in Denver. So Denver's been riding a big time hot streak. I believe at the time they were running a 5-game win streak. And then the Mavs would snap this one up, this home win. But Courtney, what would you see actually in this matchup for how the Mavs could get past Denver in a crucial matchup down the stretch?
I was trying to find why the last lineup that Dallas ran because, like TJ said, there's no reason for Maxi Kleber to be in at the last moment, and it almost lost them the game. I mean, Maxi Kleber only scored 11 points in like 165 minutes of basketball. It's absolutely disgusting. But the question is, how they win this game? I think pretty much this game was a microcosm of what Dallas can do as a team. Because I mean, they gave it their all this game, and to barely beat the champs, even though they barely beat the champs, at the end of the day, the Nuggets are still champs of the NBA as of now to the conclusion of the season. So I mean, they gave it their all, and they actually succeeded. I think they were big, especially going against what is he about 2-3 two-time MVP Nikola Jokic, the best center in basketball, to out rebound someone that owns the paint like that. I mean, they pretty much had their way in the paint this whole game. I know Jokic sometimes always is in the paint, but he still is the anchor in of that defense for the Nuggets. So for them to do what they did in the paint, that was lovely to see. So I mean, when you have Kyrie and Luka Doncic, it's like when they're cooking like that. I saw a stat somewhere on Mavericks Twitter, but their offensive rating was through the roof when they're on the court together last night, when that game was. So it's like when they're on fire like that, the bigs can get in the paint and actually produce. And I mean, you can out rebound a premier rebounder in the league. I mean, there's not really much team that you're going to lose to. So I think obviously it took a buzzer beater to do it. But like we said last week, we need to win at least two of these games. and we came out winning 2 of these games. So I think Mavericks pretty much just got. I feel like they just got to be big. A lot of times we always talk about they've been a little too puny, a little bit too scared. They just got to be big, and I think they can pretty much face anyone, beat anyone they face.
I mean, going back to that, I mean, we were talking about that last week, as you said, winning 2 of these next 3 games. Now, granted, in that first game against the Warriors, Steph was not playing. But then also in that Thunder game, Luka was not playing. And I remember TJ was asking, why is Luka not playing? And it was something because of his hamstring related, I believe. So they were trying to preserve him against that good OKC team in OKC. I wish he could have played, but, they're trying to look for the long term. So I can understand why they might have given them the night off. But it was good to see this team at full strength actually take care of a good team that's above 500. And, there's nothing that people could say and saying like it was a weak opponent. So it was good they got this big-time win. But Ramadan Kyrie, I mean, we talked about that in the past. I mean, people talk about Kyrie's performance during these times of the Muslim holy month and talking about how Kyrie, he didn't have a drink of water this entire game. You know that? Not a drink of water. Did not eat for hours.
I'm doing
I mean, I don't know how he does that, man.
That's actually insane. Luka was wondering like how he even does. He's like, I could never do that. And people are trying to make fat jokes again about Luka, but it's all good. It's all good. But still, Kyrie Irving.
A lot of people can do that. That's not a fat problem. That is like insane dedication. Insane just because you know that they've been, I mean, if you ever go to an NBA game and actually see the game in real life with your own eyes, you could see how physical the defense is actually. That is so much energy being taken out every single possession. It's crazy that he's able to do that.
Yeah, truly remarkable.
Yeah, look at the offensive shift. Our game plan these last few games, this last week, really, I would say starting with really Detroit and Chicago, has been a huge, huge shift from what our offense is usually at. It's been usually just spread around the perimeter. Maybe have a couple of, floor screens every now and then, have the pick and roll with Luka, try to get him matched up with a big guy and, see what Luka can do. If he can't do anything, kick it out to somebody and shoot a 3. That was our offensive plan really every single time. And now, I mean, it's like almost Lob City for this team again. It's like Lob City with the, like the Clippers back in 2015, 2014. Like, it's like that. I mean, we are in the paint every single possession. I think it touches the paint almost every possession. They might not get a shot up, but they have been shooting really bad. And instead of just keeping shooting the rock, from outside the perimeter, they've been getting it inside. Gafford is just so good, inside the paint. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. We were talking about it, but the last 2 wins that we had, the Warriors and the Nuggets, the Mavs shot under 25% in both of those games from 3. And that's something, I don't know if I told you, Joe, but I told somebody, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a game the Mavericks have shot under 25% and won a game. Let alone maybe 30% from 3. They always lose if they shoot under 30%. And for them to do that 2 games in a row against 2 teams that be at Golden State's kind of, iffy. They're going to be a playing team, but you can't knock them out of the playoffs. It's their experience and all. I mean, it's pretty impressive that they can do this now.
I mean, how awesome that you can go to 2 different guys in the clutch. I mean, how cool is that we don't see Luka take off that final shot and actually put it in the hands of Kyrie Irving, or some are calling the most talented in the NBA history. So,
yeah, I was really hoping Luka was going to get that ball. I was telling my dad, I was like, oh, this is Luka's MVP moment right here. This is his MVP moment. Him getting the buzzer beater against the defending champs on national television. If he were to do that, he would have climbed up in the ranks for sure.
Would have done crazy for narrative's sake. I think he did climb up recently this past week anyways, because Shai is still number 1. Jokic is now number 2, riding that crazy hot streak, and now Luka has moved to 3 in the recent MVP ladder.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is number 1 MVP ladder?
Yes.
I don't know why they would give it to him.
What happened to the game?
They're number 1 in the West as it stands.
I get it. I mean, but I feel
like they've also had the healthiest team and the 9th easiest schedule.
I saw TJ was going crazy with the post.
Good player. That was like.
That wasn't me, man. That was 214. Not TJ Players. That was 214 Sports. Can't believe to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be weird how he always ends up with 31 points if he got MVP and stuff. He's like a 31 foul merchant. No,
Very
but
on
I
point
respect
there.
him. I respect him.
But I respect Shea, but in the end, I do think that Luka deserves it over him. I think Luka, again, this is the thing that the only thing that I'll ever hear the argument of, if I were to tell somebody, why isn't Luka going to win MVP? It's because he's an 8 seed, not a 7 seed. It's because he's not in the playoffs. He's a playing team. Okay, they're tied with the Heat right now for the tied for first in the NBA with most lineup changes with the Miami Heat. They also have had the ninth hardest schedule in the entire league. And meanwhile, the Thunder have the least amount of lineup changes this year for their starting lineup, and they played the ninth easiest schedule. And, it's hard to say that that's a huge factor to the seeding, because if you look at it, the Thunder are still the best team in the West with over 500 opponents. They play a lot better against teams over 500 than the Mavericks. They probably are the better team. But we'll see when playoff time. We will see.
No, we will see.
They're a better team right now. But, you're telling me that if you take Shea off that team and you take Luka off the Mavs, who's the better team? It would be Oklahoma City. In my humble opinion, I think it would be Oklahoma City.
Easy.
It'd be night and day.
Play better together? It's debatable. Sure it's debatable. I'll just, and again, the point is that Luka and Shea, when they play against each other, Luka always outperforms against him. He's clearly the better player. I'm telling you, Shea, what a great player. He's amazing. But you can go to an Oklahoma City Thunder game and not know he's the best player on the court till the second half. Luka, if you go to a game, right when he steps on the court, he's the best player on the court. He just has that factor to him. He has that highlight factor. I don't know.
No, very solid points. I understand. Going back to playoff seeding, though, as it stands, Mavs are tied with the Kings not the same games back in the West of the Thunder with 8.5. But I believe that the Kings are just narrowly defeating the Grizz last time I checked as it stands. So if they were to lose to the Grizz tonight, the Mavs are moving to that 6th spot. So we need to watch that game. As we said, we were recording this on a Monday night at about 10 o'clock. What is it?
84-76 right now.
Okay, so 84-76 now.
And I should have said that the Mavs, without their new trade acquisitions, they're a worse team than the Thunder. I think they are probably the better team without Luka now. But without Gafford and Washington, G-League team.
Look at these acquisitions and how they performed so far. I know PJ wasn't having a great shooting night against OKC. Kind of was it was a little bit a rough watch, a little bit. But
a shot to save his life right now.
He couldn't show up in that game, but
that's
he's having a good effort on the defensive side of the ball, which I appreciate. So
yeah, it's like it's kind of like watching Finney Smith or like Reggie Bullock having those wings that are really good defensively, just can't maybe they'll have enough. I would say more like Finney Smith than Bullock. Rough night shooting, but still contributes a lot. I would say even a better rebounder than Finney Smith. Maybe even a better passer. He can put the ball on the floor more than him. But it was kind of like
Dodo,
that.
Man. Kind of miss him.
Oh, I miss him a lot, man.
Good character.
He was a heart and soul of the team, man. Yeah.
So as of Monday night, Mavs have 14 games left in the season. Next few games, they're going to play the San Antonio Spurs, and they're going to play the Jazz in a back-to-back, and then the Kings twice next. So schedule not looking as crazy as it has in the past. Like the month of January, but still a nice few stretches of games to finish the season here for the Mavs to increase their standing in the Western Conference. So looking on to that Kings game, if they can defeat the Grizzlies, and seeing if the Mavs can advance above the play-in seedings. But before we move on, we're going to do a little bit of trivia here. So Maxi Kleber and Maxi Kleber has been involved in the last 2 Mavs buzzer beaters. Of course, we talked about it briefly with the Mavs actually having the same buzzer beater day. In the most recent or second recent Maverick buzzer beater, of course, with him defeating the LA Lakers in that March 17th game last season. Hopefully we have a better turnaround for this Dallas Mavericks team after the buzzer beater yesterday. But who was the third most recent buzzer beater? The one that came before Maxi Kleber's buzzer beater against the Lakers in the season for the Mavs. So not in the playoffs. It wasn't.
So we were really checking that thread, that Mavs news thread.
It really was. Because I remember this buzzer beater, but I didn't realize that was the most recent one, the third most recent one, and the one before
You're giving it away, man. You're giving it away. I know what it is. You go first, Courtney. I already know.
Is it the Vince Carter?
No, not that
Vince
far.
Carter.
Not that far.
Whoa.
The way he was over exaggerating it, bro. I thought he was hella far, like the Mavericks. They had a buzzer beater that far. But now, hold on.
I'll give you a hint. He was a key acquisition at one point for a playoff run.
Oh, now I know. I was about to guess Luka's step back over Josh Richardson against the Celtics.
No.
Now I know.
That was COVID season, no. Way after COVID season.
The key acquisition?
He was at one point, but he eventually is gone now, and he's playing another team right now. He's kind of pushed out the door. They weren't rocking with him like people aren't rocking with Hardaway now. Towards the end,
it was a road game.
It was a road game. Who knows? I feel like TJ. Hey, he's right there. He knows it.
I know he knows it. I think.
That was actually the question. Who was it against? Oops, I might have name dropped it.
You got half of it. It don't matter. Just who was it? It was against Brooklyn. It was on the road. But who hit it?
Oof. I'm on fire, man. I knew it. Actually, no. I was going to say Luka over Josh Richardson. I kind of forgot. You gave me that clue. If you didn't give me that clue, I would have said that.
You ready for the answer?
Wait for the answer. I'm stumped.
The answer was Spencer Dinwiddie in Brooklyn, returning back to his old stomping grounds. Game winner as a key acquisition to trade.
Dude,
one of Nico's first moves as the new Mavs GM.
And then he had a game winner against Boston like 2 days after that.
Yep.
A couple seconds left.
Was it before or was it after that? Because I do remember that game where I think it was a bank too. It was a crazy game. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a bank. No.
Maybe, I don't know, man.
But he's going crazy in the clutch.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot.
On the Mavs, you forgot?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Because he's a Laker now, and I just he's doing anything here. It's like
he was going out.
I totally forgot that guy was on the team.
It was
2 years too.
Very sad ending, but he and Luka showed up crazy in that Game 7 against the Suns. I'll never forget that. I was not expecting Dinwiddie to go. I mean, to be as valuable as he was in that playoff run.
Points in Game 7.
That game was insane. But we're gonna move on to the Dallas Cowboys. Some news going around America's team. Tyron Smith, who was released, signed with the New York Jets. Tyler Biotish officially signed with the Commanders. The Cowboys would re-sign Jordan Lewis, the cornerback, on a 1-year deal. Some people were a little shaken by that. We're not rocking it with that, and he responded on Twitter. The Cowboys would sign Eric Kendricks, former linebacker for Mike Zimmer on the Minnesota Vikings, to a 1-year deal. I also recently played on the Chargers, and then also Leighton Vander Esch. Big news coming out just this afternoon, would medically retire. So goodbye to the Wolf Hunter. What are some thoughts on these moves so far, fellas?
I mean, I guess cutting Gallup made sense. I mean, hey, we're not going to forget 2019 Michael Gallup, all right? Let's not forget 2019 Michael Gallup. That guy was nice.
Totally.
Tough, unfortunate that for some reason it felt like Dak didn't give him the ball that much. I also don't think Gallup was – I don't know, man. That fall-off has to be studied. I don't know. I guess the ACL injury was a little bit, what was that detrimental to him, and it sucks, Sucks to see injuries kind of take hold of a player like that. Same with, and speaking of that, Leighton Vander Esch, man, very, very, very sad. He was a lot, he reminded me a lot like Sean Lee, and unfortunately the injuries were a lot like Sean Lee as well. He was battled a lot, he always had to wear that, what do you call that? The thing on the back of the neck.
The brace, neck brace.
Yeah, the brace. Oh, well, it was just a brace. I mean, I'm stupid. But, I mean, just super unfortunate with that stuff. You can't really control that. But the things that they can control is, maybe signing some free agents, man. That's something that they can control. I don't know. I think it was you. I think it was the wise words of Joseph Duffy that said Eric Kendricks, the final piece to the puzzle. We're finally going to win now.
Look at us. We're going to the Super Bowl now. This is the piece
we're
we've been
going to the
missing.
Super Bowl. We finally did it. I mean, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you right now, Tyron Smith, not for that money. Not for that money. The Jets, I guess they can have him. It sucks because, again, are you really going to pay that much for a guy who's probably going to play half the games? He always has injury problems. And, right now we can't afford it. Upcoming free agencies next year, Dak, Brendan Cooks, Michael Parsons the year after. We also have D-Law, Zach Martin, CD. So, it's tough, but that's the financial move that you have to make.
How about you, Courtney?
Yeah. Well, I saw a picture yesterday, and it kind of made me kind of sad. I saw Michael Gallup, Mark Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb in a press shoot, and I'm just thinking, it's like, what could have been for real? If Dallas just let, I mean, I know Mark Cooper wanted the money, and I understand that, but if Dallas just if Jerry Jones put his pride aside and just gave Cooper that money, because I feel like we would want that Browns production about what we have in Dallas right now. I feel like if they had those three, it'd be perfect. And it just makes me sad that Gallup was one of my favorite players on this team. Obviously, I don't know what happened. I mean, 2024 Gallup is kind of like Tolbert could come in that slot next year and do pretty much what Gallup did for us this year. So I don't think we're going to really be missing anything from Gallup this year. But, I mean, it's still sad to see what happened. And same with Van Der Esch. It's just that era of that Dallas Cowboys team before, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, that era, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
Magical. Until the playoffs.
To the playoffs.
Magical.
Playoffs. It feels like everything's just crumbling down one by one. And that's the scary part because, I mean, like you said, we didn't make any moves for agency except Eric Kendricks, who I haven't heard his name since he was on. Is he coming from Minnesota? Like, where's he coming from?
No, Chargers. He was on the Chargers last season.
Chargers.
Yeah, that's
and they signed him late too. He wasn't like a preseason signing. I don't think so.
Yeah, see, I can't remember.
He's not all pro Eric Kendricks anymore, but he's got a little something left in the tank, I guess.
I feel like looking back at it a week later about the free agency, I feel like it was a little bit over. I mean, obviously, it's going to be overreaction when Jerry Jones said we're going to be all in. But looking back at it now, I mean, like TJ said, if you look at it, what's his name? Tyron Smith, too much money. Tyler Biadasz, he's replaceable. Gallup need to be released anyway. Lane Vanish had to retire, so you can decide that. And the running back problem, I don't know about the running back problem. That's kind of like the number one thing on my mind. I feel like everything else could be addressed a lot easier than what we think so. The running back problem, I'm still having trouble with trying to figure out what's in Jerry Jones' head. But other than that, I feel like we're still going to be players in the East. For sure.
Listen to this, man. Hey, all right. I'm just saying, man. All right, this is full Joker coming out as a Cowboy fan. All right, look. There's no way Jerry Jones is being serious, man. We gotta just seriously, there's gotta be some massive boycott on the Cowboys. Just stop buying merch, y'all. Please stop buying merch from Dallas. They are playing you guys like a fucking violin. It's crazy how much. I mean, come on, man. He says he's all in. He's brought to tears at the end of Hard Knocks talking about championships, and we'd love to bring one to Dallas again. Look, they signed their long snapper after a full day of inactivity where every single other team in the NFL made a move. 31 out of 32. We've already talked about that. The very next day, his first move is to re-sign the long snapper. He's not serious. He's not real. Jerry Jones does not care about the Cowboys. All right? There is no way you can convince me that this dude is not laughing his ass off on a yacht thinking, these people think I'm serious right now. He's not. We're never going to win. I'm just saying.
Feels like
they
they're
fully
waiting
pretty
for
much.
the Dak extension. I feel like the Dak extension like really like screwed up their plans this free agency because even though they knew the extension was coming, like obviously the extension is coming, but it seems like they just don't want to do anything until they work on the money. It just makes no sense to me.
And going back to that, I think they just restructured his deal today, like as it speaks.
Yeah.
But going back in these contract situations, we're gonna have to have a lot of guys who maybe want to restructure, but also we're gonna have to plug in a lot of holes today and going forward because we don't have a left tackle. Well, I guess Tyler Smith now, but we don't have a tackle. We don't have some guard. We don't have some linebacker spots.
Let's get Jason Peters back.
We might have to. I don't even know if we're bringing back Stephon Gilmore. I don't know if we're even bringing back Stephon Gilmore. We might need another corner. I know Trey Diggs is coming back, so that's a good sign.
Is Anthony Barr coming back? I haven't heard much about him. I thought he was
Anthony Brown, you mean?
Well, no. What was he at? Oh, shit. Why am I blanking on his name?
Another Vikings legend.
Anthony Barr? No way.
Did he not?
Anthony Barr was 2 years ago, I think. No.
Was he 2 years ago?
Yeah,
I am such a casual.
In the freezer right
I
now.
thought he played last year.
No way. No, he's not there.
Damn.
But man, this team is just. I mean, Courtney touched on it last week. The totem pole, man, it feels like it's really moving. And it sucks because I don't want to admit it, but man, it sucks seeing everybody get better and your team just remains stagnant, like TJ was alluding to. Everybody sign people in the league, and the only person you do sign is the long snapper. Not a good sign, especially when you're telling people that you're quote unquote all in the offseason. I mean, they had me thinking that they're about to make this big splash. And looking at Derrick Henry, I mean, that deal wasn't something that was like a knockout of the park. 2 years, $16 million. I mean, I thought when I saw Pollard going to the Titans that we're about to make a nice little swap and he's about to come to Dallas. I mean, he lives here. He works out in Dallas.
Yeah.
I was hoping.
My question is, I feel like how much money would Jerry have to throw him to actually come here? Because I feel like the Baltimore pairing is just a match made in heaven for Derrick Henry.
It was, yeah. I thought it was too.
I don't think Jerry would put more money for him to come here. And if I was Derrick Henry, I would go too. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, and he would immediately fix all of our run issues in the red zone that Tony Pollard couldn't get done. I mean, the one play that comes to mind is that Tony Pollard run like that he botched against Miami when he literally had a wide open touchdown and decided to cut in out of nowhere. Derrick Henry's not doing that. And you're going to see it this season. So long to Tony Pollard. He had a great run. He honestly, I think, exceeded my expectations. I didn't think he'd be as good as he would be in Dallas, but good luck to him. He's going back to Tennessee and playing for the Titans, succeeding Derrick Henry. So,
yeah, I have no beef with Tony Pollard.
What'd you say?
I have no beef with Tony Pollard.
I have no beef.
I hope he does do good.
You know how I feel about him, man. It's a whole year of me and Tony Pollard, man.
As I say, Courtney got something to say, but we'll goodbye.
Good riddance. We'll worry about
that. Good riddance going to a place like Tennessee.
But yeah, we're going to move on to the Dallas Stars. Like we talked about at the beginning, Mike Modano, the Stars legend from Minnesota, would actually become a American hockey legend. You could argue the best American-born hockey player ever in the history of the NHL. Just had a statue unveiled, the second statue unveiled outside of the American Airlines Center behind, of course, the Dirk Nowitzki statue. But TJ, your thoughts on this Mike Modano statue, his legacy, and then what to expect from the Dallas Stars after a rough Panthers loss that you were in attendance to and a loss to the Devils and then eventually taking care of the Kings?
Yeah, I mean, this team is just very back and forth. But I mean, overall, it's a very consistent team. Basically, this is like an ESPN stat, all right? It was an ESPN stat, but Pete DeBoer, since becoming a Dallas Stars coach, 151 games, and he hasn't lost 3 games in a row in regulation. Now, they'll have lost 3 straight with games in regulation plus overtime. But they haven't lost 3 in a row in regulation, which is, I believe they said it was the 4th or third highest in NHL history. The 3rd longest streak in NHL history. for a coach and a team to do that much without losing in regulation. But, I mean, I'm telling you, man, some of those losses right there, I mean, they were looking at it because, they could have gone 3 games in a row losing in regulation, but they won 4-1 against the Kings on Modano's day. But, I mean, you were looking at it. They shouldn't have lost those games at all to New Jersey and Florida. Oettinger hasn't been the best recently. I don't really want to blame it all on him. Obviously, the defense has just been so lackadaisical. It's funny because I was thinking about leaving for the Florida Panthers game. I was like, it's funny because I really do think that Ryan Suter was our best defensive player that game, which is just crazy to think about. Mira Heiskanen had a horrible game. Essa Lindell was a big reason of why we let go of one of the comeback goals. Chris Tanev was the guy who got penalized and gave up the game-winning power play goal. And also, who's the other one that I'm blanking on? Thomas Harley didn't play that well as well. And so, the defense just hasn't been too well. We did give a major acquisition on the defensive side with Tanev, and then I guess it is going to take a little bit of time. Same with the New Jersey game, by the way. We almost doubled their shots on goal and lost 6-2. That is unfreaking believable. I don't know how many times that's happened, but probably not a lot. So double someone's shots on net and lose 6-2. I mean, those are games that it's just like, I don't know how much I can trust these Stars because they give so many goals up in a lot in very quick fashion. They can give up goals very quickly, and they can, fall on their backs and lay on the ice like turtles, like with a switch, with a snap, man. I mean, they were dominating the best team in the league, and then all of a sudden they couldn't even get onto the side of the ice. They couldn't even get in the offensive zone. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's really all I have to say about the Stars again. There's nothing major. They're playing basically as planned. They have, a couple tough losses, but that happens. Hockey, they don't go on streaks and losing streaks as much as they do in basketball and crap like that. They're gonna lose the bad teams every now and then, but overall, still a top 5 team in the NHL, I believe, and I still believe that they'll have a little bit of a chance of winning that Central Division. The Oilers and Jets have a pretty tough schedule remaining, and the Stars, they're kind of just, they're kind of just like, I mean, they got the Sharks coming up, they got Coyotes twice. I mean, they're chilling. They got some good opponents. They could really get some points here, so we'll see what they do.
I mean, you needed that big-time win against the Kings coming up after those brutal back-to-back losses. I mean, I checked in on that Devils game briefly, and I was like, this is kind of odd. I was like, how are you? I knew the Devils. I mean, that was crazy. But looking at me in that Kings game, I know the Kings were kind of imposing their will a little bit, out-hitting the Stars way more than expected. But this Dallas Stars team, they're starting to heat up, I think. We know how they play in the postseason, but that was very concerning, back-to-back stretch. So I know you're talking about saying that guys weren't looking good and it was a very rough watch, but who knows what can happen. It's playoff hockey coming up. Guys laid all out on the line, so who knows? We'll see what's coming. The schedule's going to be pretty easy coming up, too.
It's going to be a huge luxury to have Chris Tanev.
Every time, I watch the Stars, if, TJ, he's going to the game, so I was going to watch the pen. I ain't watched the whole game, obviously, but I watched, I watched here and there. I kept up with it. They lose. Every time I put something about the Stars, I keep up with them, they lose. The only time they
superstition's real in hockey, man.
The Krulowitz curse. Every time we watch a game with TJ, we lose, bro.
We're not doing too good with those right now. I believe we're 0-3 with watch parties.
Jesus, man. But we're going to move on to the World Series champion, Texas Rangers. Again, we'll never get tired of saying that ever. Opening day just around the corner.
I could say it.
Yeah, might as well.
And then it's defending.
Then it's defending World Series champion, Texas Rangers. But opening day is next Thursday. We're gonna play some more spring training games this week, but then exhibition games at Globe Life Field next week. Corey Seager finally taking live pitching after having that oblique injury. Was it oblique injury that he was having that he had to get? No, it was hernia. Sorry, hernia injury that he had surgery on, which was very late after the fact. He had the surgery about 2 months ago, but he's finally recovering well and taking live pitching for the first time against Josh Sports. I heard today. We saw more news coming out that Blake Snell, as of today, just a few hours ago, signed with the San Francisco Giants. Scott Boras finally giving in. Blake Snell signing a 2-year, $62 million deal. I mean, what does this mean for Jordan Montgomery? What do you think? Because all his clients, Scott Boras' clients, who are now pretty much signed except Jordan Montgomery, I mean, what does this mean for him? Does this mean that he's actually going to be a Ranger for a lesser price, maybe? Is he going to go to the Cubs? Is he going to go to the Yankees? What does this mean, in your opinion, for Jordan Montgomery?
I mean, honestly, I have no clue. All it does is leave Jordan Montgomery by himself. I think the Rangers need to stop playing. They need to stop playing, and they need to sign him. Like, for real, I don't understand the whole money issue. This guy was such a pivotal part to this World Series, and we've said this over and over again. You don't want to sign the World Series heroes. All right, but you know what a World Series hero would be? It would be Josh Sports. That's what I would consider a World Series hero. Jordan Montgomery was consistently good for us throughout the season. He's not somebody who just all of a sudden became automatic in the playoffs. That may be for the casuals who didn't know much about the Rangers heading in October. Jordan Montgomery is he's almost an ace. I would even almost call him an ace. I mean, he would be our number one option. I would put him out there opening day as our best pitcher. He needs to be out there and sign with us because look at it. You know, we're looking at the Astros right now. They're getting better, and they've been trying to get better. They're trying to get, they got Harden, of course. I don't understand how they're able to sign all these players, and they're trying to get Blake Snell. And now Blake Snell goes to San Francisco. They're really going after Blake Snell. They're very aggressive. That's what I heard from a couple days ago. And so, now it leaves out Jordan Montgomery. He's singled out. He's the last elite starting pitcher who doesn't have a job yet. And he's, we don't want him to become the face of unemployment or, be in a pinstripe jersey or anything like that. He needs to be home in Texas. And Arlington, Texas, baby, come on. Sign him back.
I think you're mistaken, too. The last elite pitcher not signed. You're missing out on Trevor Bauer, by the way.
Oh. Are we counting?
No, I'm joking.
Are we counting?
Not Trevor Bauer. Courtney, you have anything to weigh in before I kind of ship this?
I was going to say, I want every single person from that World Series victory back on the team. I don't care if they're... Well, okay. You can upgrade at positions. Okay?
Give Mishka right here.
You can upgrade positions. But I'm just saying... when the Mavericks made the decision of letting basically everyone go from 2011 run, I said if my team ever wins a championship, I don't ever want to see that again. Like you could run it till the wheels fall off, in my humble opinion. So I think you gotta get Jordan Montgomery back, and go ahead and run it back.
You get free barbecue too with the Mavs sponsor of their Rangers barbecue. I forgot what the name was.
He's rich though, so
he get free barbecue for the rest of his life.
Does it really matter?
But Chris Young, the GM of the Rangers, was talking about how he was sold on this Rangers rotation. But I don't know, man. Looking at this Blake Snell price, 2-year deal with an opt-out in 2024, an option that he could take out. But it looks like it could be possible for a lesser price. Maybe he could change his mind. It's kind of a play on like a chess play when you try to say that we're done and sold in this rotation. But looking at this rotation, man, I'm a little iffy about it still. Having Evaldi and then John Gray and then Heaney and then Dane Dunning. Bradford, I think, is more of a bullpen option, and I never really considered him a legit starter. So I'm not sure where we're standing on that. But as far as the Blake Snell deal, I think that's a huge deal coming up to opening day, which is 10 days away now for the entire league. But in 2 days, but for the Dodgers and Padres, but 10 days for the entire league. So Jordan Montgomery, man, I really love for him to come here, but it's up to Chris Young if he wants to pull the plug. Like TJ was saying, I mean, you might as well pay the guy. Look what he did against Jordan Alvarez in that one game he had against him. 3 strikeouts against Jordan the entire night. And, we kind of were – he was balling out the entire playoffs, for being honest. That diving catch he had against the Rays, he showed up in every single game pretty much. You could argue maybe not World Series game 2, but he was doing well the first 4 or 5 innings or so then until the D-backs got to him. So, I mean, I just wish Jordan Montgomery could come back here, because I'd hate to see him go to Chicago or New York, because he was a vital piece of this team. He's not a quote-unquote World Series hero like TJ was saying. He was a vital piece that needs to come back.
You could say even almost that maybe winning that World Series and having that big of a playoff run for him was actually one of the worst things that could have happened to him money-wise. I mean, think about it now. I mean, look at him with his very, very aggressive agent, Scott Boras. And, now knowing that just fresh off a World Series championship, being the number one pitcher on that team other than Nate Eovaldi, with that two-headed monster with those two, they were aggressive with the money. They were expecting some team to really, really pay up.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's never happened.
Going back to that, I mean, Scott Boras, you talked about his aggressiveness, but it's not been a good offseason for his clients. Cody Bellinger, who he also represents, wanted $200 million and eventually got $80 million back to Chicago. Matt Chapman. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Finish that stat.
Matt Chapman, $100 million, got $54 million. Blake Snell, of course, today, $270 million and got $62 million. So some people are calling him washed, but
we smoking that Scott Boras pack, man. Is that
one of the most hated agents in the game today? Not showing his aggressiveness this offseason. People are not being fooled. Way more power in the MLB with these owners, and they're not going to let him bully their organization.
No more. Hey, but he did get that bag with Corey Seager and the Rangers, though. He did do that.
That was elite work, and he's worth every penny. I will not complain. Worth every penny.
He did do that. I'll give him that.
So we're gonna end this 31st episode of the 214 Sports Show. You can follow us on YouTube and Spotify, where we post each episode in length. We post the episodes usually at 9 a.m. on Thursdays. We've been doing much better as a whole these past month and a half doing that. I mean, overall, we've just been really consistent with the uploads at 9 a.m. overall. You can look at YouTube and Spotify at 214 Sports Show. Please follow and like the videos for the podcast. You can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, where we also post some reels and, interactive things to, reel in our audience. So at 214 Sports Show also for that as well. TJ, you want to give your socials really quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, my Instagram is TJ.Kurlowitz. My X is TJ_Kurlowitz. Yeah, you can follow me both there, both sides.
Mr. Mashani and TikTok. Mr. Mashani.
It's a good ring to it. I mean, Instagram, C lives the life. Twitter, C, that shit. 31 episodes, bro. Like, come on, bro. We got,
we're never gonna get over this, man.
Kevin Durant said, grow up, man. We gotta grow up, bro. Grow up, man. Twitter, C_Machani. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at Joseph_Duffy99. I feel like I should change that again. I don't like that username, man. I don't like it.
Hey, how you feel about the retirement real quick before we leave, man?
The who's retirement?
Aaron Donald's.
Oh, I mean, it hurts. He's my favorite player in the history of the NFL, but, he had a great career. He has no reason to keep playing. I really wish he could have, but at this point, he has nothing else to prove. He's done literally everything you could do in this league, winning a championship, being a 3-time DPOY, being a 10-time Pro Bowler, I believe, 8-time, 9-time All-Pro.
Donald fan page, all right.
I gotta give him his respect, bro. If he came to the Cowboys, man, I would lose. Let me tell you, I'm ordering that jersey not even 5 minutes after. I'm getting that immediately. If he came to the Cowboys out of nowhere, that would be crazy. What a career for Aaron Donald. Number 99. The reason I wore number 99, the reason I had the cut-off sleeves right there playing DT. Hey, man, I appreciate the legend. But
hey, come on, man.
At Joseph_Duffy99, Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on that. Again, you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we post all of our content. We'll post this episode at 9 a.m. on Thursday. That will do it for the episode here, the 214 Sports Show. For Joseph Duffy, TJ Krylowitz, and Courtney Machani, so long and have a good rest of your good morning or good evening or good night. See ya.
Ramadan.